A stranger in a strange land. He is no one.
Mina. Mina.
Jonathan? Jonathan, I thought you were next to me. I thought you were home.
Mina, don't come here. Don't try to find me.
I dreamt I was in Whitby, in the churchyard. What happened, Mina? What happened to us there?
Lucy, be mine.
Yes, Arthur. Yes. But who will look after you if I leave you?
Renfield? Why are you crying?
I want to be as tall as my master.
I am no longer young, and the walls of my castle are broken.
Jonathan, my love, where are you?
3 women coming towards me. I'm lying down. Their teeth are so white, lips like rubies. Kiss me, all 3 of you. Now.
He is young and strong. There are kisses for a sword.
The 5th of June, 1897. It was a hot day in the asylum. The heat makes the inmates variously drowsy or irritable. It induces melancholia. Today, my concentration wanders. The inmate Renfield is the sole distraction from my own depression. His hobby is catching flies. No, Renfield, there are too many now. You must get rid of them.
But may I have 3 days to do it, Dr. Seward? Please?
Yes, you may. He's turned his mind now to spiders, and has got several large ones in a box. He feeds them his flies and uses half his food in attracting them from outside. The spiders are now as great a nuisance as his flies.
A fly, Dr. Seward. A big one. Here, in my hand.
Renfield?
What? It's very good and wholesome. It's life. Strong life. And it gives me life. May I have my notebook back, please?
Why do you jot down these single numbers, Renfield, then add them up in batches?
Why not?
Endeavouring not to constantly replay this morning's events, I was feeling finally brave, resolute. I called upon Miss Lucy Westenra.
Dr. Seward, did Mother want to see you?
No. Sorry I gave you no warning.
You don't need to warn us. It's not bad news, is it?
No, it's more social.
Good. Shall I ring for tea?
Thank you.
How are your patients?
Oh, they're well. Well, not completely well, of course, but well. Well, they're sheltered. Miss Lucy.
Yes?
I have come here to ask something of you.
Shall I get Mother? She's just lying down.
No, it's you, specifically.
Are you all right?
Yes. You have a bag packed in the hall.
I'm going to Whitby with my friend, Mina Murray.
I've not met her. It's marriage. Would you consider... I feel very strongly towards you. Love you.
What?
You look rather shocked.
Yes.
It was a mistake. I'm mistaken. I thought you might... But you don't. You're shocked.
I'm sorry.
Please don't apologise. Perhaps I should have written. I thought the best way was to ask. I should go.
You don't have to leave.
No, you wouldn't want some time to think about. No, you don't want that.
I'm sorry.
Please, no. I must go. Thank you. Thank you. And here I sit, locked back in with my mad folk. I shall take chloral in order to sleep. If only it could erase one's incessant emotions as well.
How awful for you. It was. Because he's a good man. I hate to hurt him.
He's been very kind to Mother throughout her illness.
One day, someone will come along and you'll fall.
He has. I have. Now. Mina, I'm in love.
In love? With whom?
Arthur. Arthur Holmwood. You don't know him.
You've never mentioned him before.
It's all been rather sudden. But it's real. Absolutely real. He's just... It feels complete when I'm with him.
And is he in love with you?
He says he is. Yes, of course he is. He is. We just are. You just know. You know when it's real, don't you?
Yes. Yes, you do. You do.
His father's Lord Godalming, for heaven's sake. But Arthur's not at all like that. He's just himself. And Jonathan will be back soon. I'm sure of it.
He hasn't written for 5 weeks. I'm very glad for you, Lucy. Very.
I'm sorry. Being euphoric. And I know you're so worried.
No, you should be happy. I just wish he'd send a word. A line.
You said yourself that all things Western slow down after Budapest.
Yes, but one can't help but think about illness. The fevers over there.
He's sorting through contracts and there's no post. That's all it is.
Yes. And look, we must celebrate.
You're like him, Mina. He's very intelligent and intuitive and funny and he's beautiful. He reads to me.
I shall like him very much if he makes you happy.
Jonathan will be back within the month. I can sense it.
I keep having an image of him trapped somewhere.
He's probably drinking beer in some remote inn. No post, but plenty of vodka.
Possibly. Let's head back. You mustn't get ill again.
3rd of May. Dearest Mina, I keep this diary as a long letter to you in our separation. Since meeting you, I almost feel as though I have not truly done a thing until I have told you about it. I suspect that in the end, that is what love is. Bistritz was an interesting old place. The Count had booked me into the Golden Krone Hotel. From there, a diligence to the Borgo Pass, where I would be met. As we left, the landlord's wife approached me.
Jonathan Harker, do you know where you go? Take Christus for Mother. Your mother's sake.
She placed a rosary around my neck. Not a typical day for a solicitor's clerk. Sorry, yes, a solicitor, as of last week. The beauty was extensive. There was everywhere a bewildering mass of fruit blossom. Apple, plum, pear, cherry. By the roadside were many crosses. Peasant men or women kneeling before a shrine. When it grew dark, the passengers became excited, restless.
Where are we, driver? Borgo Pass.
I looked out, but there was no sign of the Count's vehicle.
You come on to Bakovina. Return tomorrow. Better the next day.
I'm afraid I can't. The Count's expecting me. Let me out here. I'll simply wait.
No. Travel on with us.
Look, there. Isn't that a carriage coming down the cliff road?
Whoa!
It drove at an incredible speed towards us. The Count's carriage stopped. I climbed in. I looked back at my late companions. They crossed themselves.
Shush, my beauty.
It started to snow. Gently at first, but soon the landscape was pure white. Around us was a ring of wolves, with white teeth and lolling red tongues, with long, sinewy limbs and shaggy hair.
Shoo! Away! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
The coachman came out and swept his long arms at them. He seemed to have some power over the animals. We travelled on. We kept descending, scudding clouds on the dark horizon. Darkness, and then a haze. I must have slept, and when I woke, I became conscious of the courtyard of a vast, ruined castle. I climbed down and stood in silence. A great door opened. Within stood a tall old man, clean-shaven, with a long white moustache, clad all in black. He stood very still and held an antique silver lamp. He motioned me in now with his right hand.
Welcome to my house. Enter freely and of your own free will.
He held out his hand and grasped mine. His grip was fierce and as cold as ice.
Go safely, and leave something of the happiness you bring.
Count Dracula?
Yes, Mr. Harker. Come in. The night air is chill. You must need to eat and rest. Your bag?
We walked up a winding stairway.
Your room. I trust you will find all you wish.
I washed, then joined my host. Supper was laid out.
You will excuse me that I do not eat, but I have dined already and I do not sup.
At this moment, a pack of wolves started to howl outside. The Count looked towards the window, intent, pained almost. He leaned across me. I recoiled.
Listen to them. The children of the night. What music they make. The profound feelings of the hunter. But you must be tired. Your bedroom is all ready. Sleep now.
The 7th of May. I slept till late in the day. Breakfast was laid out. There was a card. I have to be absent for a while. D. In the library, I found a vast number of English books. I read for a few hours.
I hope that you rested well. Through these books, I have come to know your great England. A stranger in a strange land, though. He is no one. Come, tell me of London and the house which you have procured me.
The house is old and big.
Good, good. To live in a new house would kill me. I am no longer young, and the walls of my castle are broken.
Presently, with an excuse, he left me. I began to read and looked at a map of England. I found little rings marked near London, Exeter, and Whitby. Strange that each place pertains to you. I smiled at the happenstance and missed you. An hour later, the Count returned.
Aha! Still at your books? Good. But come. I'm informed that your supper is ready.
The Count stayed with me while I ate. Then he asked questions into the night. Soon I felt the chill which comes over one at the coming of the dawn, similar to the turn of the tide. They say that people who are near death die generally at the change to dawn or at the turn of the tide.
Dearest Jonathan, I write from Whitby. It's a beautiful town. If I knew how you were, I would enjoy it. I miss you. I ache for us to be wed, and for life to be both normal and extraordinary. I wonder where you are, my love. I wish you were next to me. Mina.
Darling Mina, I hope that you are well, my love. Last night I was talking till around 5 with the Count. This morning, well, the details... I had hung my travelling mirror by the window and had just started to shave.
Good morning.
What? Oh, I didn't see you.
Oh, you have cut yourself.
I had not seen him behind me in my glass. He stood next to me now, and there was still no reflection of him in the mirror.
Oh, the blood. It is trickling down your chin. This is the word, yes? Trickling.
It is. Get off me. What are you doing?
Oh! Why do you wear this superstitious rubbish?
It's a rosary. You've hurt my throat.
You cut yourself. This is the cause.
He hurled my mirror into the courtyard below. There are bolted doors everywhere. I feel like a prisoner. The only possible exit is the windows. When I returned to my room, the Count was making my bed. So, there are actually no servants in the house. It must have been the Count who drove me here. Tonight I leaned from my window. Mina, something was moving a story below me in the darkness. It was the Count. He crawled down the castle wall over the dreadful abyss. He was face down with his cloak spreading out around him like great wings. His fingers and toes grasped the corners of the stones, and he moved downwards fast like a lizard. Tonight he went out again. I explored the various stairs and passages. One vast room was full of dust and ruin. I drew a great couch to the windows. Then, in the moonlight opposite me, were 3 young women. Their bodies threw no shadows. They approached, and then... I don't remember. The moisture shone on her lips and tongue. Lower and lower went her head as her lips went below my mouth and to my throat. Hot on my neck, the skin of my throat tingling. Soft, shivering touch of her lips, and now the hard dents of 2 sharp teeth touching. Pausing. My eyes closed. Ecstasy.
How dare you? Back, I tell you all. This man belongs to me.
He never loved. He never knew pain.
Yes, I too can love. Now, go. Go. I must awaken him, for there is work to be done.
He will give us nothing. He'll leave us to starve.
Look, sisters.
She points at a bag which he has thrown upon the floor.
It is still breathing.
It moves as though there was some living thing within it.
Take it, take it.
Mine.
The women close around the abducted child. Horror. I awake back in my bedroom. The Count must have carried me here. And now a woman in the courtyard. I peer down. Her hair is dishevelled. Her hands are over her heart, breathless. She cries out for the return of her child. She curses me. Wolves appear and circle round her. A heap of inert clothes and blood. I feel no pity. I know what has become of her child, and she is better dead. Tonight I shall escape through the window and scale the walls. Goodbye, Mina, if I fail. Lord, help me and those to whom I am dear.
"19th of August. There was a strange and sudden change in Renfield last night. About 8 o'clock he began to get excited.
I don't want to talk to you. You don't count now. The master is at hand.
He seemed utterly transfixed by this idea. He became quiet and went and sat on the edge of his bed.
How are your spiders, Renfield?
I don't care a pin about them.
Mina, the waves are so high.
It's incredible.
The fishermen say that we're in for a storm. Imagine sailing on that.
I can't see the horizon for the mist and those clouds.
They're like giant rocks.
Look, there's a boat. Just past the headland.
It's rather beautiful. A schooner, isn't it? The wind is making it look rather like a toy, crashing around.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening, Captain. We were just wondering what sort of ship that was out there.
She's a Russian by the look of her. The air's becoming very still now. I don't like that.
Why not? Look. The schooner, it's racing towards us.
Aye. It's faster than any boat I've seen before.
It'll crash into the rocks if it keeps up that speed.
Seems to be negotiating them as if it had charted them.
It's not slowing down a jot. It's coming at the beach.
Oh, God.
What?
Oh, God save us. Look away, Miss Murray. Miss Westerner, I'd go home if I were you.
He's dead, isn't he?
Aye, he is.
Lashed to the wheel.
I've never seen a dead person before.
I've seen too many.
Could no one help him? Where are the rest of the crew? None of them are coming out.
Please, Miss Murray, will you take Miss Westenra and yourself back to your rooms? It's really too
awful. His head is swinging with the motion of the boat.
Don't, Mina. Let's go home.
Look, his hand, he's clutching a crucifix. But the binding cord has cut his flesh to the bone.
Please, no more.
There's someone else. Or is it... No, it's a black dog.
It's half the size of a man.
Where?
It's jumped onto the beach, miss. It's running off up the cliffs.
I feel rather faint.
Come, let's get you home. Good night, Captain.
Good night, ladies. God bless.
I'm weary tonight, and low. If I don't sleep at once. Chloral, the modern Morpheus, no. No, I shall take none tonight. Insomnia. 2 in the morning. I'm wide awake.
Sir! Dr. Seward!
It's not my watch. It's Dr. Casey's.
I know, Doctor, but we need you.
What is it, Simmons?
It's Renfield, sir. He's escaped.
What?
There was a loud noise. I looked in and he'd wrenched out his window. He's run towards the Carfax house. He's climbing a tree to get into the grounds.
Well, it's just ruins and gated. Fetch a ladder, 3 or 4 men. We'll get him round the back. He can't get out.
Yes, sir.
I crossed the wall. I could see Renfield's figure just behind the house, so I ran after him.
Master, I'm here to do your bidding, Master.
I found him pressed close against the old iron-bound oak door of the chapel.
I am your slave, and you will reward me, for I shall be faithful.
We closed in on him.
Let go of me! No!
He's in a straight waistcoat now, and he's chained to the wall in the padded room.
I shall be patient, Master. It is happening. Happening.
11th of August. I woke up around midnight and looked across. Lucy's bed was empty. She had unlocked the door. I took a big, heavy shawl and ran out. There was not a soul in sight. I looked across the harbour to the east cliff to see if Lucy was in our favourite seat, in the churchyard. There was a bright, full moon. I could see the ruins of the abbey, and there, on the seat, a half-reclining figure, white. It seemed as though something dark stood behind her. I flew down the steep steps to the pier and along by the fish market to the bridge.
Are you cold, my child?
Yes.
Shall I warm you? Shall I wrap you in a coat of fur?
Yes.
You must first ask me to enter you.
Come. Let us never move from here. Be inside of me, always.
Good. My good child.
Mina is coming.
The dark figure behind her raised its head. I could see a white face and red, gleaming eyes.
I go, my love.
I ran to her. Lucy was half reclining over the back of the seat. I flung my warm shawl over her, fastening it at her throat with a safety pin. I must have pricked her with it, for she put her hand to her throat and moaned.
Lucy Westenra, you must come home now.
She rose without a word. We are home and Lucy is sleeping. Same day, noon. Lucy looks better this morning, revived. But my clumsiness hurt her. The pin made 2 little red points on her neck and on her nightdress a little blood. The 13th of August. I found Lucy sitting up in bed, asleep, pointing to the window. I looked out. The moon was behind the clouds. A great bat, circling, then gone. Lucy lay down and slept. I went out for some air. I looked up at our window and saw Lucy. I waved. She did not see me. She was fast asleep, and by her was something that looked like a good-sized bird.
Are you a bird or a man?
I am all things. I'm your dreams. Half man, half bird. A bull with feathers. I am all. Give me your neck now.
It's yours. Am I yours?
Good. I go.
When I came back into the room, she was moving back to her bed, but slowly, as though she was in pain. She was holding her hand to her throat. She is paler, and there is a drawn, haggard look under her eyes. 15th of August. I rose later than usual. No news from Jonathan, and Lucy seems to be growing weaker. At night, I hear her gasping as if for air. She refuses to see a doctor. Last night, I found her leaning out the window, asleep. Lucy? Lucy, what are you doing? Lucy? Lucy? Lucy?
I'm ashamed.
Of what, my darling?
I don't know, Mina. I do. I'm no longer... I have lost...
You're tired is all you are. I'm confused. You're seeing a doctor on our return to Hillingham.
No.
Yes, you are. Come to my bed. Oh, you're like ice. I wrapped my arms around her. She shivered and started in her sleep. The tiny wounds on her throat are larger than before. The edges of them are faintly white, with red centres. 19th of August. Joy, joy, joy! At last, news of Jonathan. He has been ill, that is why he did not write. He's being looked after by nuns in a hospital in Budapest. I am to leave in the morning and go over to him. I shall help to nurse him and then bring him home. Budapest, 24th of August. My dearest Lucy. Well, I found my dear one. Oh, so thin. He's only a wreck of himself, and he does not remember the past few weeks.
Mina, there should be no secret, no concealment. I have had a great shock. What happened is written in this notebook, and I do not want to know it. Take it and keep it. Read it if you will.
I put the book under his pillow. We are to be married in an hour. Jonathan sat up in bed, propped up with pillows. When he kissed me and drew me to him, it was like a solemn pledge between us. Your ever-loving, Mina Harker.
Hillingham, 24th of August. Arthur came to lunch. He looked quite grieved when he saw me.
You look very pale. Are you all right?
Hardly slept, but no matter.
What kept you awake? Are you troubled?
No, I'm sorry. I promise I won't be a sickly wife.
Don't apologise. Why don't I call in Jack? Jack Seward. He'd be happy to come over.
Don't contact him. It's just lack of sleep.
But Jack's brilliant. He's helped your mother hugely.
Don't ask Dr. Seward to examine me, please.
But he's a friend.
Your friend, not mine.
Was there a problem between Jack and your mother?
No. Why can't you just listen to me sometimes?
I do.
I'm sorry. I just think I'm more tired than ill.
What does your mother think?
I haven't told her. Mother's in a lot of pain. I'm not going to bother her with a sore throat and a touch of short breath.
Your throat? You didn't say. Let me see.
No. All right. Get your friend in. That's fine.
I've upset you.
No, never. I'm sorry.
You and Jack?
Are friends. Ignore me. I'm just in a vile mood. Forgive me.
At the request of Arthur Holmwood, I have undergone an examination of his fiancée, Miss Lucy Westenra. Diagnosis: she is somewhat bloodless, but I could not see anemia. The problem seems to be mental. Lucy Westenra. I hope you did not see my hands shake as I took your pulse. So, what are the main complaints?
It wasn't I who asked you here, Dr. Seward. Although I consider your work excellent, of course.
No, I know. It was your fiancé. Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't know that you and Arthur were friends.
Oh, yes. Old friends. So, your symptoms. Arthur mentioned a lack of sleep.
Yes. And I have trouble breathing sometimes. I'm lethargic. As a child, I used to walk in my sleep. And when I was in Whitby, I started to do that again.
And here, now you're at home?
No, I've not been sleepwalking here.
Cough for me. I'm going to put my hands here to feel the rhythm of your breath. Is that all right?
Of course.
Take a big breath. And hold it in. And out. And short breaths now. That's good. How long have you had this wound in your neck?
It's just a pinprick.
There are 2 tiny punctures.
2 pinpricks, then. It's nothing.
I'd like to ask my old master, Professor Van Helsing, to examine you. Would you consent to that?
Of course. Thank you.
Good. But I'm sorry if this has been awkward for you. It will be my sole examination.
I'm sorry if it was awkward for you.
No, it wasn't. I'll go now.
Will you take some tea?
You shake your head. You look so beautiful for those moments. I wish I could make you happy. And I simply can't.
I have just held you, listened to your lungs, your heartbeat, felt your hair brush against my neck. And you expect me to drink tea and talk about the rain?
Dr. Seward?
No, thank you. Goodbye, Miss Westenra. Lucy. Arthur is a very fine man.
He is. Goodbye.
And you leave. I wonder if I shall dream again tonight. Of the man-bird.
Lucy. No.
Yes. Yes.
Enough?
I have more.
So do I. Many more, you naive child.
Three days later, Van Helsing examined Lucy.
Life and death, Jack. This is life and death. I will speak further of it when we have time, but for now it is imperative that you come back with me to Miss Lucy's rooms.
We went upstairs. When I saw the change in her, I was shocked. In days, her health had seriously deteriorated. She was pale and so thin.
There must be a transfusion of blood at once. Is it you or me?
It must be me. I went downstairs with him, and as we were preparing, there was a knock at the hall door. Arthur.
Jack. I was so anxious. I read between the lines of your letter. Dr. Van Helsing. I'm so thankful to you, sir, for coming.
Sir, you have come in time. You are the lover. She is bad, very, very bad. You are to help her.
What shall I do?
She wants blood badly. We are about to perform a transfusion.
Just tell me what to do, sir.
Good. Come now.
We all went up to Lucy's room.
Arthur. Arthur.
Darling.
Am I so bad? Did they call for you?
Not at all. I was just missing you.
Liar.
Miss Lucy, I have a draft for you here. To drink.
Is it a narcotic?
No, just a help for sleep.
Liar. Prop me up a little, would you, Arthur?
Here.
I feel drugged already.
Is that better?
Yes.
Now, recite for us a poem. Any poem. A child's song.
Who rides so fast through the wind and the wild? It is the father
holding his child. The Earl King. He took the child.
Mr. Holmwood, your arm. Dr. Seward, please time us with the clock.
As the transfusion went on, something like life seemed to come back to Lucy's cheeks. Much blood was needed, and Arthur was faint with it.
It is enough. You attend him. I will look to her.
The narrow black velvet band around Lucy's neck shifted. It showed a red mark on her throat. Van Helsing stared at it. I took Arthur downstairs.
Don't just look at the food, Arthur. Eat. You must.
Is she dying, Jack?
No. No, the colour came back to her face. You saw that.
But what's wrong with her?
We'll find out. But you must keep yourself well for her sake. And your father's.
Yes. Yes.
I must see if Van Helsing needs me.
Of course. Don't hide anything from me, will you?
No. I shan't.
Lucy slept. We examined her. Van Helsing looked at her neck intently.
What do you make of that mark on her throat?
What do you make of it?
It's 2 punctures over the external jugular vein. Not a clean wound. There's no sign of disease. But the edges are white and worn, looking as if by some trituration. It's friction or grinding.
Well?
That's all I can make out.
I must go back to Amsterdam tonight. There are books there which I want. You must remain here and watch. You must not sleep. I shall be back as soon as possible.
I sat up with Lucy. Towards dusk, she woke. She looked much revived.
Where's Arthur?
He's gone to see his father. I assured him you were on the mend. You should rest. Try to sleep more.
I'm afraid to. Then it just...
Why? You're getting better. You know that.
I dread what I'll see. In my sleep state.
Why? What have you seen?
I don't know. I fear it.
Look, I'm not leaving the room. And if I see any evidence of bad dreams, I will wake you.
Thank you. Then I shall try to sleep.
And like a child, as soon as she had given up the will to battle against sleep, she went to it, oh so suddenly, and looked so peaceful. Her lips were slightly parted, and her breast rose and fell with the regularity of a pendulum. There was a smile on her face. In the early morning, her maid came, and I returned to the asylum. Renfield was steady. He had been quiet. For 2 nights now, I have not slept. I went back to Lucy's to check upon her progress.
You see for yourself. I'm quite well. You're worn out. You must stay in the room opposite mine. I shall leave this door open and your door too.
I'll sit with you.
No, you shall not. I'm quite well, and I shall be the nurse now. Sleep. And so shall I. Like a couple of old soldiers.
I smiled at her image of us. I had wished for a much different one. I agreed, for I was dog-tired.
Undo the band around your neck.
Yes. Yes.
I was conscious of the professor's hand on my head and started awake all in a second, a habit I acquired at the asylum.
And how is our patient? Come, let us see.
I opened the blind, whilst Van Helsing stepped over to the bed.
God ten hemel.
Lucy was unconscious, white, cold. Her lips were bluish, and the gums seemed to have shrunken back from the teeth.
Quick, bring the brandy.
Together we rubbed palm and wrist and heart and wetted her mouth.
It is not too late, but we must begin again.
I rolled up my sleeve and found a vein. We began the operation.
What are you giving her?
A hypodermic injection of morphia.
Lucy went into a deep narcotic sleep.
Now, ready?
Yes.
I felt curiously proud when I saw a faint tinge of colour steal back into the pallid cheeks and lips.
Enough.
You took more from Arthur.
He is her lover, her fiancé. You have work to do for her and for others. This will suffice.
How could Lucy have been drained of so much blood?
How?
These tiny punctures, they're so ragged. The edges look exhausted, no?
Indeed. Where is the nearest telegraph office?
About a mile down the hill.
Good. So, I shall be back presently.
Lucy woke, alert, a few hours later.
What happened last night? I feel less well than yesterday.
Sometimes you can feel a setback to progress, but you're still making a good recovery.
So I simply slept?
Yes.
Oh. Strange. How is my mother?
She's not too well, but Lydia is looking after her, and they talk a lot.
Yes. Incessantly. Good. Thank you, Jack.
I felt pride and an acute sadness that my blood was flowing in her veins. Secretly. Van Helsing returned in a couple of hours.
Now you go home, my friend, and make yourself strong. I stay here tonight. Good night.
I had a late dinner. I went my rounds. Renfield just stared at me when I looked in on him. Silent. He looked pained. Sad. The 11th of September. I went over to Hillingham. I found Van Helsing in excellent spirits and Lucy much better. A big parcel from abroad.
For you, Miss Lucy. This is medicinal. They go in your window, round your neck, and so you sleep well.
Flowers?
Boxes of them, just like a star of the opera.
There. Beautiful.
I don't think opera divas wear garlic around their necks, Professor.
They are from Harlem. Come with me, friend doctor, and you shall help me deck the room with it.
First he locked the windows, then rubbed the flowers all over the sashes, the door and fireplace too. He made a second wreath for Lucy's neck.
There. Take care you do not disturb it, and do not tonight open the window or the door.
I promise. And thank you both 1,000 times for all your kindness to me.
I came back to the asylum, tired but content. Something about Van Helsing's absolute faith made me feel hopeful, joyful even. And being so close to Lucy. Lucy Westenra, soon to be Lucy Holmwood. Yes, well, joy comes, and as fast it is smarted or blasted. I heard Renfield talking to himself through the walls. Some banging and shouting. The 13th of September. Van Helsing and I arrived at Hillingham at 8 o'clock. It was a lovely morning, bright sunshine. Lucy's maid greeted us.
You'll be glad to know, sirs, that Miss Lucy is better. I looked into her room and saw her, but did not go in, lest I should disturb her.
Good. Very good.
I checked on her in the night. She was sleeping so sound she never heard me come in, but the room was terrible stuffy. I chucked those flowers out and opened a bit of the window to let in some air. Excuse me, sirs.
The professor's face turned ashen grey.
God. Come. We must see and act. We must fight him all the same.
Together we went up to Lucy's room. Her face had the same awful waxen pallor.
Today, you must operate. I shall provide. You are weakened already.
He locked the door. Again the operation, again the narcotic, again some return of colour to the ashen cheeks. Van Helsing rested now.
So, Jack Seward, you did not expect such cases from your medical school, no? Nor for you to be draining your professor of his lifeblood. Tell me, Miss Lucy, what is she to you?
A friend.
Ah, well, they are rare and must be preserved. You look in pain, Jack. So I will watch now. Miss Lucy should wake from sleep in an hour, fresh and bright.
The 17th of September. Tonight, I was posting up my books, which had fallen sadly into arrear. Suddenly, the door was burst open.
Renfield?
You!
Renfield, put down that knife. Put it down, now. You want to go back to the padded cell?
No, no! You won't hold me back from seeing him when he comes!
Now, you cut me! Stop. Stop now. I shall punch you to the ground. I mean it.
But you stop me! Always! You stop me!
Doctor! Simonski, take him away.
Your wrist, sir. You're bleeding.
Yes.
It's on the floor. Blood.
I'll get a bandage. You look to Renfield.
I will, sir. Look to me. Yes, look after me. Like I was your kitten.
Renfield. That's blood, my blood.
Get up, Renfield. Do we need the straight waistcoat with you? No need. No need, I'm almost finished.
I am overexcited and weary, and I need rest. Van Helsing has not summoned me. Tonight, I could not well do without sleep. A telegram.
17th September. Was called away. Do not fail to be at Hillingham tonight. If not watching all the time, frequently visit and see that flowers are as placed. Do not fail. Shall be with you as soon as possible.
The 18th of September. Van Helsing's telegram is one day late, as it was sent mistakenly to Carfax, Sussex. A whole night lost, and I know what may happen in that time.
I was waked by the flapping at the window. I was not afraid. I tried to sleep, but I could not. Is there anybody there? God shield me. Arthur, goodbye.
Do not fear, my child. All is pleasure. All. I come to you. Your neck, your breast. Always.
The 18th of September. I drove at once to Hillingham and arrived early. A terrible fear began to assail me. We stopped at the gate, and there was Van Helsing running up the avenue.
How is she? Did you not get my telegram?
I only received it this morning.
Then I fear we are too late. God's will be done.
There was no sound from her room. On the bed lay Lucy, her face white and still more drawn. The flowers were stripped from her neck. The two little wounds looked horribly white and mangled. The professor bent over her, his head almost touching her breast.
She breathes. Quick, quick. Bring the brandy.
Van Helsing rubbed the brandy on her lips and gums and on her wrists and the palms of her hands.
She has had put into her veins the blood of 3 strong men. What took it out?
The 19th of September. All last night, Lucy slept fitfully. On waking, she was hardly able to turn her head. She ate negligibly. Her open mouth showed the pale gums drawn back from the teeth.
They are longer and sharper than usual.
Arthur. Arthur. Don't kiss me.
Later, she looked her own self again, but a dying one. We telegraphed Arthur.
Jack, is Lucy dying?
Yes, I believe so.
I cannot conceive of a world in which she is not somewhere.
Nor I.
You love her, don't you?
I do.
Yes. Well, who could not?
Sit near her. Lucy will know you're there in some sense.
This afternoon, a carrier's cart with 2 men stopped outside. I watched them from my window. They pointed towards Carfax and asked the porter about access to the ruin. Renfield leant from his window below mine.
Dogs! Curs! You men! You are not fit to serve him!
Shut up, you foul-mouthed beggar!
Dogs! Unfit! Unfit! Filthy leeches!
The men departed.
Why should they serve when I cannot? Why does he break my heart?
Renfield landed on the courtyard awkwardly, his foot at an angle.
Simmons! It's Renfield! Simmons!
We chased him up the road. He ran after the cart, which had on it some great wooden boxes. He rushed now at the carters. He pulled one of them off and began to knock his head against the ground.
He's mine! Do you hear me? Not yours! I've waited! I've waited! You won't take my bride!
Get off, man! Simmons! Go, get him off!
We began to master him. The attendants put a straight waistcoat on him.
I'll frustrate them! They shan't rob me! They shan't murder me by inches! I'll fight for my lord and master! Get him!
They got him back to the house and put him in the padded room. One of the attendants, Hardy, had a finger broken. However, I set it all right, and he's going on well. I duly relieved Van Helsing in his watch over Lucy.
Her teeth seem longer and sharper, Professor.
The canine teeth, yes. Be vigilant. I'll take over at 6.
Alone I sat with this poor, troubled girl. I went over to the window. There was full moonlight, and here was a great bat, which wheeled around. When I came back, I found that Lucy had torn away the garlic flowers from her throat. I replaced them and sat watching her. When Van Helsing came to relieve me, he removed the flowers and lifted the silk handkerchief from her throat.
Mein Gott, it will not be long now. Take that poor boy and let him come and see the last. He trusts us, and we have promised him.
I went to the dining room and waked Arthur.
Come, my friend. Summon all your fortitude.
I have none.
You must find it. For her sake.
Yes. Yes. I would gladly die for her, Jack.
I know.
When we came into the room, Lucy opened her eyes.
Arthur, oh my love, I'm so glad you have come. Kiss me.
Arthur bent to kiss her, but Van Helsing swooped upon him.
Not on your life! Not for your living soul and hers!
You think to stop it, but nothing can stop it.
What, my love?
I need it.
You shall not have it!
Lucy's sharp teeth clamped together. Then her eyes closed. When she opened her eyes again, they were once more soft. She took Van Helsing's large hand and she kissed it.
My true friend and his. Oh, guard him and give me peace.
I swear it. Come, my child. Take her hand in yours and kiss her on the forehead, and only once.
Their eyes met instead of their lips, as at that moment she lost consciousness. And so they parted. Van Helsing took Arthur's arm and drew him away.
It is over.
Poor girl. There is peace for her at last. It is the end.
Not so, alas. Not so. It is only the beginning.
What do you mean?
Just what I say. It is the beginning.
Oh, how sweet. How sweet they are. The profound feelings of the hunter. Always hiding, always running, always feeding. The lot of the exile is a poor one. My castle is broken, and I have no home but the warmth of strangers.
Miss Lucy is dead. How was the blood lost or wasted? And why, in the pampas, are there bats that come out at night and open the veins of cattle and horses and suck dry their veins? In some islands off the western seas, there are more bats which hang on the trees all day. Then, when the sailors sleep on the deck, the bats flit down on them, and the men die.
The funeral of Lucy Westenra is to happen tomorrow. The undertaker had certainly done his work well. There was a wilderness of beautiful white flowers. When Professor Van Helsing turned the winding sheet gently back, we both started at her beauty. I could not believe my eyes, that I was looking at a corpse. The professor placed wild garlic flowers amongst the others on and around the bed. Then he took from his neck, inside his collar, a little gold crucifix and placed it over her mouth. He restored the sheet to its place, and we came away.
Tomorrow, I want you to bring me, before night, a set of post-mortem knives.
Must we make an autopsy?
I want to operate, but not what you think. Let me tell you now, but not a word to another. I want to cut off her head and take out her heart.
What? The girl's dead. Why mutilate her poor body without need? Why do it? It's monstrous.
There are things that you know not, but that you shall know. Will you not have faith in me?
I will, Professor. I must.
We came back to town quietly, taking a bus to Hyde Park Corner. We walked down Piccadilly. Jonathan was holding me by the arm the way he used to in the old days. Suddenly, he clutched my arm so tight that he hurt me.
Mina! Mina, look! He's there!
Who?
That man in black. I can't look again. Describe him to me.
Well, he's tall, thin, he has a black moustache and a pointed beard.
And what else?
Large white teeth. They're pointed like an animal.
Yes. Do you see who it is?
No.
It is the Count. But he's grown young, Mina. It's him.
When we got home, I decided the time had come to read the diary of Jonathan's time abroad, for his sake. But before I could start it, the world went dark.
Jonathan!
Mina? What is it? What's happened?
A telegram. It's...
Darling, shall I read it?
Yes.
Oh, my love. Oh, come here. Come here.
How? I was with her. She was... How?
A few days after the funeral, I walked over Hampstead Heath to visit Lucy's tomb, alone. A policeman stopped me as I walked away from the place.
Excuse me, sir. I wondered if you'd seen a child on its own at all.
No? Someone gone missing?
There's been a spate of children disappearing on the heath. Well, they'll find their way home eventually, but we suspect there's an animal on the loose. The children are bitten. They all have the same wounds on their neck, and they all talk about seeing and following a bloofer lady, they call her. Young uns, you see, sir. We found a child on Shooter's Hill this morning. Emaciated, he looked to me. He's in the hospital now.
I'm sorry. But I shall take special attention.
Oh, thank you, sir.
23rd of September. Jonathan is better after a bad night. Dr. Van Helsing has come and gone. Oh, what a strange meeting. I gave him my written account of all the recent events. He bowed and settled himself in a chair with his back to the light. He became absorbed in the papers, whilst I went to see after lunch. When I came back, I found him walking hurriedly up and down the room. He rushed up to me and took me by both hands.
Oh, Madam Mina, how can I say what I owe to you? These papers, open the gates. And your husband, tell me of him. Is he quite well? Is all that fever gone? And is he strong and hearty?
He was almost recovered, but when we were in town on Thursday last, he had a sort of shock. He thought he saw someone who recalled something terrible, something which led to his brain fever. You think me a fool and Jonathan a madman.
I have learned not to think little of anyone's belief, no matter how strange it may be.
May I give you the copy of Jonathan's journal when abroad? You'll read for yourself and judge. So he took the papers with him and went away. And I sit here thinking I don't know what.
Renfield has become, to all intents, as sane as he ever was. I had a letter from Arthur, written on Sunday, and from it I gather that he is bearing up wonderfully well. Van Helsing and I discussed the children who'd been going missing.
Well, the injuries these children sustain?
It is like Lucy's. 2 holes puncturing their neck.
And what do you make of it?
Whatever it was that injured her has injured them.
That is true indirectly, but not directly. Do you mean to tell me, friend Jack, that you have no suspicion as to what Miss Lucy died of, not after all the hints given, not only by events, but by me?
Of nervous prostration following a great loss or waste of blood.
And how was the blood lost or wasted? My thesis is this. I want you to believe.
To believe what?
To believe in things that you cannot. You think, then, that those so small holes in the children's throats were made by the same that made the holes in Miss Lucy?
I suppose so.
Would it were so? No, it is worse. Far, far worse.
What do you mean?
They were made by Miss Lucy.
Are you mad?
Would I were. Tonight I go to prove it. Dare you come with me?
Yes.
We dined at Jack Straw's castle, along with a little crowd of bicyclists and others who were genially noisy. About 10 o'clock, we started from the inn. It was then very dark. At last we reached the wall of the churchyard, which we climbed over. We found the Western Ra tomb. Van Helsing went about his work systematically. Holding his candle, he located Lucy's coffin. Another search in his bag, and he took out a turn screw.
What are you going to do?
To open the coffin. You shall yet be convinced.
It's empty.
Are you satisfied now? How can you account for it not being there?
Oh, perhaps a body snatcher. Some of the Undertaker's people may have stolen it.
Come with me.
He put on the coffin lid again. We opened the door and went out. The 27th of September. It now seemed madness to open the tomb again when we knew that the coffin was empty, but Van Helsing insisted. The place was unutterably mean-looking when the sunshine streamed in. Van Helsing walked over to Lucy's coffin and I followed. He bent over and again forced back the coffin lid, and a shock of surprise and dismay shot through me. There lay Lucy, seemingly just as we'd seen her the night before her funeral. She was, if possible, more radiantly beautiful than ever, and I could not believe that she was dead. The lips were redder than before, and on the cheeks was a delicate bloom.
Is this a juggle?
Are you convinced now? See her teeth. They are even sharper than before. With this and this, the little children can be bitten. Are you of belief now, friend Jack?
No, she may have been placed here since last night.
Indeed, that is so. And by whom?
But someone has done it.
And yet she has been dead 1 week. Most people in that time would not look so.
I had no answer for this. Van Helsing studied the face of the dead woman, raising the eyelids and looking at the eyes.
She was bitten by the vampire when she was in a trance, sleepwalking.
What?
You start. In trance she dies, and in trance she is undead too. There is no malign there, see. And so it make hard that I must kill her in her sleep.
What? Kill her?
If she is dead, as you believe, then what difference, my friend?
How will you do it?
I shall cut off her head and fill her mouth with garlic. Then I shall drive a stake through her body.
Doar noi oameni botezați, doar noi oameni botezați.
Last night, I was almost willing to accept Van Helsing's monstrous ideas. But now, after a good sleep, I wonder if his mind can have become in any way unhinged. Today, Arthur and I came into Van Helsing's room.
So, good. I want your permission, my boy, to do what I think good this night. It is, I know, much to ask.
Dr. Van Helsing, if you can assure me that what you intend is Christian and honorable, then I give my consent.
I accept your limitation.
What is it we are to do?
I want you to come with me to the churchyard at Kingstead.
Where Lucy is buried. And when there?
To enter the tomb.
Is this some monstrous joke?
No, we must open the coffin.
This is too much.
Miss Lucy is dead, is it not so? Yes, then there can be no wrong to her. But if she be not dead...
Has there been some mistake? Has she been buried alive?
I go no further than to say that she might be undead.
What do you mean? Is this all a nightmare, or what is it?
We are truly on the verge of one, Mr. Holmwood. I ask you, may I cut off the head of the dead Miss Lucy?
No! Not for the wide world would I consent to the mutilation of her dead body. Are you insane?
I have a duty to do, a duty to others, a duty to you, a duty to the dead, and by God, I shall do it. All I ask you now is that you come with me, that you look and listen.
Come with us, Arthur, as her protector. It was just 1:15 midnight when we got into the churchyard. The night was dark, with occasional gleams of moonlight between the dents of the heavy clouds that scudded across the sky. When we'd come close to the tomb, I looked well at Arthur. Are you all right?
Yes. Yes.
This is her coffin. Jack, you were with me here yesterday. Was the body of Miss Lucy in here?
It was.
It's empty.
We will wait outside. Things much stranger are yet to be. Come.
It seemed fresh and pure in the night air after the terror of that vault. Van Helsing pointed, and far down the avenue of yews we saw a white figure advance. A dim white figure, which held something dark at its breast. The figure stopped, and at that moment, a ray of moonlight fell upon the masses of driving clouds and showed in startling prominence a dark-haired woman dressed in the cerements of the grave. We could not see the face, for it was bent down over what we saw to be a fair-haired child.
Lucy.
It was Lucy Westenra, but yet how changed. The sweetness was turned to adamantine, heartless cruelty, and the purity to wantonness. Van Helsing raised his lantern. By the light that fell on Lucy's face, we could see that the lips were crimson with fresh blood, and that the stream had trickled over her chin and stained the purity of her lawn death robe. When Lucy saw us, she drew back. Her eyes ranged over us. They blazed with unholy light, and the face became wreathed with a voluptuous smile. With a careless motion, she flung to the ground the child that up to now she'd clutched to her breast. Lucy advanced to Arthur with outstretched arms and a wanton smile.
Come to me, Arthur. Leave these others and come to me. My arms are hungry for you. Come, and we can rest together. Come, my husband, come.
Van Helsing sprang forward and held between them his little golden crucifix.
No! No, it hurts! No!
Within a foot or two of the door, Lucy stopped. If ever a face meant death, we saw it at that moment.
Answer me, oh my friend. Am I to proceed in my work?
Do as you will, friend. Do as you will.
Returning to the tomb, we entered. Lucy lay there in all her death beauty.
Is this really Lucy's body?
It is her body, and yet not it. But wait a while, and you shall see her as she was, and is. So.
What are these things?
It is a soldering iron, operating knives, a round wooden stake.
And a hammer. I see.
All that die from the praying of the undead become themselves undead and prey on their kind. And so the circle goes on, ever widening.
Tell me what I am to do.
Take the stake in your left hand, ready to place to the point over the heart, and the hammer in your right. Then, when we begin our prayer for the dead, strike in God's name that all may be well with the dead whom we love, and that the undead pass away.
Arthur took the stake and the hammer. Van Helsing opened his missal and began to read. Arthur placed the point over the heart, and as I looked, I could see its dint in the white flesh. The thing in the coffin writhed, the body twisted in wild contortions. The sharp white teeth champed till the lips were cut, and the mouth was smeared with a crimson foam.
Stop! Stop!
There. She is Lucy again, isn't she?
She is. She is God's true dead, whose soul is with him.
Arthur bent, shaken to the core, and kissed her. Then we cut off the head and filled the mouth with garlic. We soldered up the leaden coffin, screwed on the coffin lid, and gathering up our belongings, came away. The 30th of September. Mr. Harker arrived at 9 o'clock. He got his wife's wire just before starting. Strange that it never struck me that Carfax, the very next house, might be the Count's hiding place. We had enough clues from Renfield.
All things bright and...
The bundle of letters relating to the purchase of the house were with the transcript. I looked in on Renfield. He was calm, singing.
Great and small.
Mr. Harker, Mrs. Harker, it's a pleasure.
Ours too.
A pleasure to meet you, Doctor. And I'm sorry for your recent... for everything you've been through. Well, we shall all work together. It will be for the greater good. Absolutely. So, we have traced the Count's coffins. There should be 50 of them in the old chapel at Carfax. unless any have since been removed. We have the papers for the consignment. Good.
I wonder, Doctor, might I meet your patient Renfield? I'm fascinated by him after reading your notes.
I took Mr. Harker to the study and Mrs. Harker to Renfield's room.
Renfield? A lady would like to see you.
Why?
She's going through the house.
Very well. Let her come in, by all means. But just wait a minute till I tidy up the place.
His method of tidying was peculiar. He simply swallowed all the flies and spiders in the boxes before I could stop him.
Good evening, Mr. Renfield.
What are you doing here?
My husband and I are staying on a visit with Dr. Seward.
Then don't stay. I pray God I may never see your sweet face again. May he bless and keep you.
I'm sorry that you don't want to see me.
But I do. I mean, leave here, this place. He prayeth best who loveth best. All things great and small. For the dear God who loveth us, he made and loveth all.
It's Coleridge, rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Yes, but who is he now who wanders the earth forever? He takes your time, not for conversation like the old sailor, but your time, full stop. He murders you by inches.
I don't understand.
Leave. Please, go away from here. He is near.
Come, Mrs. Harker. You rest now, Renfield.
30th of September. We have all been summoned to Dr. Seward's study by the professor.
This vampire which is amongst us is of himself so strong in person as 20 men. Will you join me in trying to defeat him?
I answer for Mina and myself. I am with you, for Lucy's sake, if for no other reason.
Dr. Seward simply nodded. We all took hands, and our solemn compact was made.
So, he may not enter anywhere at the first unless there be someone who bid him to come. His power ceases at the coming of the day. Some of the boxes at Carfax have been removed. We must trace them, then capture and kill this monster. We shall break into Carfax at 5 in the morning. We have tools. Mrs. Harker, we shall see you at breakfast.
Yes, Professor. I shall go to bed and pretend to sleep.
At 4 a.m., Renfield sent for me. I found him excited, but far more rational than usual.
You need to release me from the asylum and send me home. I am recovered. I am sane. I desire to go at once, this very hour, this very moment, if I may. Time presses.
I have work to do. Good night.
Dr. Seward, please. Let me out of this house at once. Send me away how you will or where you will. In a straight waistcoat, manacled and leg-ironed, even to jail. But let me go.
Come. No more of this. Go to your bed. Try to behave more discreetly. Without a word, he rose and, moving over, sat down on the side of the bed.
You will, I trust, Dr. Seward, do me the justice to bear in mind later on that I did what I could to convince you tonight.
I will, Renfield.
We took our way to the abandoned house next door.
I have my whistle. We'll stay together, won't we? It's not for us. It just might be useful.
A crucifix for each of you, and put these flowers round your neck. So, here we are. In manus tuus Domine.
The dust is almost like a carpet. Footsteps. Look.
Yes. Recent ones. You know this place, Jonathan. You have copied maps of it. Which is the way to the chapel?
This way. Oh, what is that smell?
Dry miasma.
It smells like hell to me.
Blood. Accurate. We must see how many of the boxes are left.
Here. You count the far side, I'll note these.
What is that movement in the corner?
18 over there. 11 here.
29, then.
Throw a stone into the corner. Something is shining there and moving.
Yes, I see it. Phosphorescent.
Rats. It's alive with them. These doors lead to the outside.
Oh, they won't just leave.
They might. With this.
These are your terriers?
Yes.
The rats poured out of the chapel. The dogs then returned to us.
They frisk, no, as though they had been rabbit hunting in a summer wood.
They do. They love the taste of the blood.
Jonathan. Johnny.
Yes, if you like. I am Jonathan. Johnny. I am every man. May I come to you?
Come. Come into me.
First of October.
Mina.
We all overslept ourselves.
Mina.
I had to call Mina 2 or 3 times before she awoke.
Who are you?
What? Angel, are you all right?
What?
I'm your husband. Were you expecting a prince?
Oh, hello. I can't move. I'm so tired. I dreamt about mist.
Hmm?
It became a sort of pillar of cloud in the room. Then it was a fire and 2 red eyes. A white face bent over me.
Perhaps Dr. Seward could give you a dose of chloral tonight.
Yes.
He said that chap Renfield wants to see you again.
Does he?
What? Don't go if it'll upset you.
Oh, no, but I will. My day has passed as though I was sleepwalking. I was so tired. Poor Mr. Renfield. He was very gentle. And when I came away, he kissed my hand.
God bless you. Truly, God bless you. And all creatures.
In some way, it affected me much. I'm crying when I think of him. Dr. Seward has given me a little opiate, a sleeping draught. A new fear comes now, that I may have been foolish in thus depriving myself of the power of waking. I might want it.
At least a few of the Count's boxes were taken to a house in Piccadilly. A man was outside taking down various notice boards.
Excuse me, sir. You're the agent of this house. I wonder if you might tell me something of it.
It is sold, sir.
Ah, who purchased it?
It is sold, sir.
Surely you do not mind letting me know so much.
But I do mind. The affairs of their clients are absolutely safe in the hands of Mitchell, Sons and Candy.
I act on the part of Arthur Holmwood, Lord Godalming.
He was at once friendlier. I garnered some information and departed. I got a cup of tea at the Aerated Bread Company and came down to Purfleet by the next train. Mina was looking tired and pale. She went to bed disturbed. I told the others of my findings.
If all the missing boxes are in the Piccadilly house, then our work is near the end. But if we do not find 21, we must search until we find them.
The 1st of October. I am puzzled afresh about Renfield. His moods change rapidly.
How are the flies?
The ancients did well when they typified the soul as a butterfly.
Oh, it's a soul you're after now, is it?
Oh, no. Oh, no. I want no souls. Life is all I want. I'm pretty indifferent about it all at present.
He became sulky then, and so I came away. Later in the day, he sent for me. I found him sitting in the middle of the floor on his stool, a pose he always adopts for thinking.
What about souls?
What about them yourself?
I don't want any souls.
You like life. You want life.
Oh, yes.
But how are we to get the life without getting the soul also? I mean, surely you have the souls of thousands of flies and spiders and birds and cats buzzing and twittering and moaning all around you. You've got their lives, you know. You've got to put up with their souls.
Something seemed to affect his imagination, for he put his fingers to his ears and shut his eyes.
To hell with you and your souls! Why do you plague me about souls? Haven't I got enough worry and pain? Forgive me, Doctor. I forgot myself. Pray do not put me in a straight waistcoat. I want to think, and I cannot think freely when my body is confined. Please.
I believe that the Count has been to him, and there is some new scheme of terror afoot. I went after my round to Van Helsing and told him my suspicion. He grew very grave. I took him to Renfield, and we listened outside his door. When we entered, we saw with amazement that he'd spread out his sugar as of old. Tonight I watched him through the observation trap. He was sleeping soundly. We must sterilize all the imported earth between sunrise and sunset.
What is it, Simmons?
Renfield, Doctor. He's been attacked. He's on the floor in a pool of blood.
What happened?
I've no idea. I went to move him. His face was beaten to a pulp, sir. Pardon the expression.
Could he have done that to himself?
No, sir. His back is broken. Both his right arm and leg, and the whole side of his face are paralysed. But how could the two things occur? If his back was broke, he couldn't beat his head. And if his face was like that before the fall out of bed, there would be marks of it.
I stared at Renfield now. A poor excuse of colours and contortions. One could hardly call this a man.
Go to Dr. Van Helsing. Ask him to come here at once.
Van Helsing returned, bearing with him a surgical case.
Send the attendant away. They must be alone with him when he becomes conscious. After the operation.
Thank you, Simmons. You'd better go your round. Dr. Van Helsing will operate.
Sir.
Simmons withdrew. The real injury was a depressed fracture of the skull.
They must reduce the pressure. The whole motor area seems affected. The suffusion of the brain will increase quickly, so we must trophine at once.
As Van Helsing operated, I dreaded the words Renfield might speak if he regained consciousness.
He might die at any moment. We shall operate just above the ear.
Give me some water. My lips are dry.
We moistened the parched lips.
I have had a terrible dream.
Tell us your dream, Mr. Renfield.
I thought that somehow Mrs. Harker had come into the room. She came again this afternoon. She didn't look the same. I don't care for the pale people. I like them with lots of blood in them. And hers all seem to have run out. He has been taking the life out of her.
What the name?
We rushed to the Harker's door. We threw ourselves against it. With a crash, it burst open. The moonlight was bright. On the bed beside the window lay Jonathan Harker, breathing heavily as though in a stupor. Kneeling on the near edge of the bed, facing outwards, was the white-clad figure of his wife. By her side stood a tall, thin man clad in black. His face was turned from us. It was the Count. With his left hand, he held both Mrs. Harker's hands, keeping them away with her arms at full tension. His right hand gripped her by the back of the neck, forcing her face down on his bosom. Her white nightdress was smeared with blood, and a thin stream trickled down the man's bare chest, which was shown by his torn-open dress. The attitude of the two had a terrible resemblance to a child forcing a kitten's nose into a saucer of milk to compel it to drink. The Count turned to us. With a wrench which threw his victim back upon the bed as though hurled from a height, he turned and sprang at us. Then he leapt through the window. Van Helsing and I moved forward to Mrs. Harker. From her throat trickled a thin stream of blood. Her eyes were mad with terror. Then she put before her face her poor, crushed hands.
We can do nothing with poor Madam Mina for a few moments. I must wake Jonathan from this stupor.
In God's name, what does this mean? Mina, what is it? Guard her while I look for him.
No, Jonathan, you must not leave me. You must stay with me. Stay with us.
We are here. Take my crucifix. Whilst this is close to you, no foul thing can approach. You are safe for tonight. We must be calm and take counsel together.
I'm clean. I'm clean. I must touch him or kiss him no more.
No, Mina, come here. Mrs. Harker, do you remember anything?
There was a mist again, and the Count was there.
Shh. Silence, my child. Do not play the innocent. It is not our first time. You would help these men to hunt me, but you are now flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. When I say come, you'll cross land or sea to do my bidding.
Yes.
Yes.
Then he pulled open his shirt, and with his long nails opened a vein in his breast. When the blood began to... He took my hands, restrained my arms. He seized my neck and pressed my mouth to the wound so that I must either suffocate or swallow some of them.
Mina.
I want to die. It's best that I die, truly. Truly.
You must not die. And we must be practical. And you can help us, Miss Mina. Infinitely. Will you?
Yes. Yes. If I can.
So, 2 of us will wait for him in the Piccadilly house. Another will search for the other earth boxes at Bermondsey and Mile End.
I shall wire to my people to have horses and carriages where they'll be most convenient.
No, we should take cabs.
Are we all armed?
We are.
Now, Madam Mina, let me see you armed against personal attack. On your forehead, I touch this piece of sacred wafer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and...
Ah! It hurts. There's a mark, isn't there? A burn, a scar.
It's nothing.
We must pledge, all of us, to help each other. It is so dark.
I pledge. And I.
And I.
And I.
And I.
We all travelled to the house in Piccadilly. We had the locks changed and entered. The stench from within was overwhelming. We waited.
Believe me, my friends, we shall not have long to wait now. We should have ready some plan of attack, so that we may throw away no chance. Hush. There is no time now. Have all your arms. Be ready.
We waited. Suddenly the Count leapt into the room. Harker threw himself before the door. Harker had ready his great kukuri knife.
For my wife! A scratch. Superficial. Compared to your wife's wounds, it is invisible. Oh! Gold! Keep it! I shall have your wife, and you can take my money.
Count, take the crucifix.
Huh?
Keep the wafer.
Away! Away! Keep that vile instrument of death away from me! You think to baffle me? You, with your pale faces, all in a row, like the sheep in a butcher's shop. My revenge has just begun. Your girls that you all love are mine already, and soon you will be my jackals when I want to feed.
He passed quickly through the stable door and fastened it behind him. By the time we forced it open, there was no sign of him.
Later, I was awakened by Mina.
Go. Call the professor. I want to see him at once.
2 or 3 minutes later, Van Helsing was in the room in his dressing gown, and Arthur was with Dr. Seward at the door.
Madam Mina?
Professor, I want you to hypnotize me. Do it before the dawn, for I feel that now I can speak, and speak freely. Be quick, for the time is short.
The professor started the process. Gradually, her eyes closed and she sat stock still.
Where are you?
I don't know. Sleep has no place it can call its own.
What do you see?
I can see nothing. It is all dark.
What do you hear?
The lapping of water. I can hear them on the outside.
Then you are on a ship.
Oh, yes. There is the creaking of a chain, and metal sounding upon metal in the breeze.
What are you doing?
I'm still. Oh, so still, it is like death.
Dr. Van Helsing placed his hands on Mina's shoulders and laid her head down softly on her pillow.
We go off tomorrow, Dr. Seward, Mr. Holmwood, to find what ship and whither bound. Jonathan, you stay with Madam Mina.
That day, we went to the harbour. We have seen the owner of the ship on which the Count has boarded. The box we seek is to be landed in Varna. We are to meet here in my study in half an hour and decide on our course of action.
The Tsarina Catherine left the Thames yesterday morning. It will take her at least 3 weeks to reach Varna. But we can travel overland in 3 days. Tonight we can get ready, and then, if all be well, we 3 can set out on our journey.
We 3?
Ah, you must remain to take care of your wife.
I want to consult with Mina.
Very well.
I watched Mina sleep, calm. Then she opened her eyes.
Jonathan, I want you to promise me something on your word of honor.
I promise.
Promise me that you will not tell me anything of the plans formed for the campaign against the Count. Not a word.
She solemnly pointed to the scar. I saw that she was in earnest.
I promise.
We slept, but Mina woke me early and asked me to call the professor.
Dr. Van Helsing, I must go with you on your journey.
But why?
When the Count wills me, I must go, by any device. That way you may find him.
Good. You shall with us.
Jonathan, you must promise me that should the time come, you will kill me. When you shall be convinced that I'm so changed that it is better that I die than that I may live, you'll drive a stake through me and cut off my head.
Mina.
Promise.
I promise. 15th of October, Varna. Throughout the journey, Mina slept nearly all the time. Before sunrise and sunset, however, she is very wakeful and alert. Van Helsing hypnotizes her at such times.
What do you see?
Nothing. Dark. Waves lapping against the ship. Water. The wind is high. I can hear it in the shrouds, and the bow throws back the foam.
We wait now, here in Varna. Another day, and no tidings of the Tsarina Catherine. She ought to be here by now.
I fear that the Count is escaping us.
I have a telegram. The Count's boat entered Galatz at 1 o'clock today. He's tricked us.
When does the next train start for Galatz?
At 6:30 tomorrow morning.
How on earth do you know that?
If we go to Castle Dracula, we must go by Galatz, or at any rate through Bucharest, so I learned the train times.
You, Arthur, go to the station and get the tickets. Jonathan, go to the agent of the ship and get from him letters to the agent in Galatz with authority to search the ship.
Madame Mina, Harker, and Arthur left to make preparations. Van Helsing saw the worry in my face and confirmed my thoughts with his own theory.
In the trance of 3 days ago, the Count sent to Madame Mina his spirit to read her mind. He learned then that we are here. Now, he make his most effort to escape us.
30th of October. At 9 o'clock, Dr. Van Helsing, Dr. Seward and I called on the agents of Hapgood in the river harbour. They took us on board the Tsarina Catherine. We met the captain, who told us of his voyage. He said that in all his life he had never had so favourable a run.
Oh, he had a big box which had been put on board by a queer-looking old man. The Armenians wanted me, right or wrong, to take out the box and fling it in the river, but an hour before sunup, a man took it. He had his papers all right, and I'm glad I was to be rid of the damn thing.
What was the name of the man who took it?
Here's the receipt. Signed, Emanuel Hildesheim.
We found Hildesheim in his office. He told us he had received a letter from London telling him to collect a box which would arrive at Galatz in the Tsarina Catherine and to give it to a certain Petrov Skinsky. That was all he knew. We then sought for Skinsky.
You are his neighbor, yes?
Yes, but I have not seen him for some days.
Does this boy know him? Who is running down the street as though he were on fire?
Everyone knows Skinsky.
Roland, you must come with me. Skinsky is dead in the churchyard.
His throat had been torn open. Van Helsing and I walked back to the hotel and relayed our news to the others.
My theory is that some Slovaks are transporting the Count by water to his castle. In my trance, I heard cows low and water swirling level with my ears and the creaking of wood. The Count was on a river in an open boat. Look, the river most suitable is either the Prut or the Surette.
We'll need a steam launch and horses.
Professor Van Helsing and I are to leave by the 11:40 train tonight for Vereshti, where we are to get a carriage to drive to the Borgo Pass. Jonathan sets off on a steamer, and Arthur and Dr. Seward on horses.
We are rushing along through the darkness. The cold from the river seems to rise up and strike us. 1st of November, evening. We have found nothing of the boat we seek. We have now passed into the Bistritza, and if we are wrong in our surmise, our chance is gone. We have overhauled every boat, big and little. If we could only go faster. But we cannot. The engines are doing their utmost. Seward and Arthur ride along the other river, and soon we shall meet.
31st of October. Arrived at Vereshti at noon. We have 70 miles before us. Later. The houses are very few. The dear horses are patient and good. We got to the Borgo Pass just after sunrise yesterday. This is the way.
How know you it?
Jonathan wrote of it. We go on for long, long hours and hours. We are going up, and all is oh so wild and rocky, as though it were the end of the world.
We have had only the rest needful for the horses. We must push on. We shall never feel happy till we get the launch in sight again. There are signs of snow coming, and if it falls heavy, it will stop us.
All yesterday we traveled, always getting closer to the mountains and moving into a more and more wild and desert land. Madame Mina still sleep and sleep. Finally, I too held down my head and slept. When I awoke, I saw a castle.
What are you doing, Professor?
Why are you drawing a circle around me?
I break the wafer down so, and now you are well guarded. Will you not come over to the fire?
Yes. Ow! It hurts. The circle hurts me.
Good. Then it works. I left Madame Mina sleeping within the holy circle. I took my way to the castle. The doors were all open. I broke them off the rusty hinges lest I might not get out. I found my way to the old chapel. The air was oppressive, sulphurous fume. There were at least 3 graves to find. I search, and I find one of them. She lay in her vampire sleep, so full of life that I shudder as though I have come to do murder. I brace myself and find by wrenching away tomb tops one other of the sisters, then the other fair sister. There was one great tomb more lordly than all the rest. On it was but one word: Dracula. I laid in Dracula's tomb some of the wafer, then began my terrible task, and I dreaded it. It was butcher work. One. Two. Mein Gott. Again.
We ride and ride. The snow brings the wolves down from the mountains. We ride to the death of someone, God alone knows who or where or what, or when, or how it may be.
Before I left the castle, I so fixed its entrances that never more can the Count enter there undead. Then I stepped into the circle where Madame Mina slept. She woke.
Come. Let's leave this awful place. Jonathan must be near by now. We started walking down the mountain. We found a sort of natural hollow in a rock between 2 boulders. The professor took me by the hand and drew me in.
See, if the wolves do come, I can meet them one by one.
Taking his field glasses from the case, he began to search the horizon.
Look. Madame Mina, look.
Not far off came a group of mounted men hurrying along. In the midst of them was a cart. They were gypsies. On the cart was a great square chest.
They are flogging the horses. They are racing for the sunset. We may be too late. Oh, God's will be done.
Then there was a blinding rush of driving snow, and the whole landscape was blotted out. It soon passed, however, and once more his glasses were fixed on the plain.
Look. See, 2 horsemen follow fast, coming up from the south. It must be Mr. Holmwood and the doctor.
Looking around, I saw on the north side another man, riding at breakneck speed. It was Jonathan. Closer and closer they drew.
Halt!
The gypsies reined in, and Arthur dashed up at one side. But the leader of the gypsies lashed the horses forward. Jonathan raised his Winchester rifle. At the same moment, Dr. Van Helsing and I rose behind the rock and pointed our weapons at the Sigony. The gypsies tightened their reins and stopped. Every one of them drew a knife or pistol. Our men threw themselves from their horses and dashed towards the cart. The gypsies formed round it in a sort of undisciplined endeavour. Jonathan jumped upon the cart, raised the great box and flung it over the wheel to the ground. Arthur had to use force to pass through his side of the ring of Sigony. He parried them with his bowie knife. But now Arthur was clutching at his side. blood spurting through his fingers. Jonathan attacked one end of the chest, attempting to prise off the lid. Arthur attacked the other end. The lid was yielding. The sun was almost down. I saw the Count lying within the box. He was deathly pale. Now his red eyes saw the sinking sun, and his look of hate turned to one of triumph. But on the instant, Jonathan's great knife sheared through the throat. Arthur's bowie knife plunged into the heart. The whole body crumbled into dust. The gypsies turned, without a word, and rode away as if for their lives. Arthur held his hand pressed to his side. The blood still gushed through his fingers.
It was worth for this to die. Look. Look. Now, God be thanked that all this has not been in vain. See, Madam Mina's forehead. The curse has passed away.
And, to our bitter grief, Arthur died. A gallant gentleman. His blood upon the snow.
Doar noi oameni botezați, doar noi oameni botezați.
The walls of my castle are broken, and I am no longer young.
All things bright and
But
beautiful,
gone,
all creatures
do you suppose?
great and small,
Truly?
all things wise and wonderful, the Lord
Shh, my child.
Căci cine iubește și lasă.
Dracula by Bram Stoker, adapted by Rebecca Lenkiewicz. Count Dracula was played by Nicky Henson. Dr. Seward by Charles Edwards. Van Helsing by John Dougal. And Renfield by Don Gillet. Mina Harker was played by Ellie Kendrick. Jonathan by Michael Shelford. Arthur by Joe Sims. And Lucy by Scarlett Brooks. The child was Harper Bone. Other roles were played by Christine Absalom, Robert Blythe, and Patrick Brennan. The music was performed by Adriana Feshdeu. Dracula was adapted by Rebecca Lenkiewicz and directed by Jessica Drumgoole.
Pământul